Now, hi, Rach. Yeah, we've already seen two really special moments today. The opening day properly had the opening ceremony yesterday, but they began in earnest on the snow, on the slopes today. And for the Ukrainian team, after all the struggles, Rachel, getting there, literally, they say, dodging bombs, explosions as they left the country. And then they said it was a miracle they got there, but then they felt the love and the support of the Paralympic family, and a gold moment this morning.
Absolutely, 3 gold moments from Ukraine. They're actually currently sat at the top of the medal table after everything they've gone through, as you've said. It's just extraordinary that they can get into that athlete mindset and try and push everything that's going on at home to the back of their heads. And actually, I've been part of the BBC 5 Live team that spoke to the Ukrainian press officer last week and coming into this week, and they basically said, Ukrainian athletes that are the Paralympians, they can't fight the war back at home. Their disabilities stop them from fighting that war. What they can do is fight for a medal. They can show their country their support by winning medals. And we've seen 3 of those golds, 3 silvers and a bronze already on day 1.
And it was really interesting what one of the biathlete, Grigory Bochinski, had to say after winning that gold.
Yes, he said that he was doing for his country and he wanted everyone at home to know that they were out here supporting the Ukrainians that are fighting back at home. And Millie Knight also, after her medal today, she said that she wanted to acknowledge how tough it has been for the Ukrainians competing out here.
Rachel, you know what it's like to be competitive. You know absolutely to go out there and win. And you know you're battling against other countries, athletes, of course, but other countries. Do you think that the support they were shown, this Ukrainian team has been shown, just in terms of we're with you, the world is with you, the rest of the world is with you, do you think that would have bolstered them? Even though I don't think it would have taken the edge of other teams' competitiveness, but there's almost that will, isn't there, for success. If you're going to see someone win, let it be them.
100%. I mean, when I was competing, I didn't want to do it just for myself, but also for the fact that my parents had got out of bed in the morning and my coach was always on the poolside waiting for me. I was doing it for them, and the Ukrainians will be thinking the same. They aren't just doing it for a medal. At the end of the day, the Paralympics, it's not just about sport.
Do you think the other teams, though, their rivals may have even just thought, OK, if it's going to be anyone?
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, as an athlete,
of course,
what we want is to win. But, yes, if you're going to stand up on top of that podium and if the Ukraine is going to be on top of that podium, there's going to be nobody else right now that you would rather be beaten by than by them.
Yeah. Rachel, you mentioned Millie Knight and her guy Brett Wild and the visually impaired skiing. They won
as well by the psychology of all of it, and you've talked about that, the support that we've seen for Ukraine, but for all the athletes there. And even though the organising committee say, look, it's not about politics, we've got to leave that outside. We heard, of course, this week Russian and Belarusian athletes will not compete at these games. How difficult is it for them to put that on one side and focus on the sport?
It is difficult, but most athletes have been training for this moment their entire lives. You don't just wake up and go, you know what, I'm